and thank you everyone for joining us for this session of Webinar Wednesday. Today we're going to have a brief discussion on the tips and tricks that you may need with your exporting or publishing layers from your ArcGIS projects. Always, we are utilizing our everyday technology for an everyday work process. The focus is to basically export data from your ArcGIS projects, your ArcGIS data on ArcGIS desktop. We can export the standard ESRI format files, or data file formats, shape files, personal geodatabase, and file geodatabase. We can export from all three. And we will actually export to GeoSyncGO. Now, when we export to GeoSyncGO, it utilizes our own GeoSearch layer. They are XML files. So we're going to export your shape files, your personal geodatabase, or your file geodatabase feature classes to a GeoSyncGO GeoSearch layer. After the data has been exported to the GeoSyncGO system into our format, at that point we would publish those GeoSyncGO layers out to the GeoSyncGO products, be it GeoSyncGO Plus, the GeoSyncGO Mobile, or the GeoSyncGO desktop products. Now, some of the requirements for exporting from ArcGIS. First and foremost, it has to be an ESRI data format. You can't export, AutoCAD drawings or imagery or anything like that. It's specifically a ArcGIS feature class data set. The data sets have to have a valid projection. If you don't have a valid projection, it'll actually give you an error. Like you see here, this error message at the bottom left, one or more layers are missing spatial reference and highlighted in red. Those layers that do not have a spatial reference, actually, as it says, are highlighted in red in the layer listing of the GeoSyncGO layers tool. We also cannot do bad geometry. We do not do multi-part features. You cannot export multi-part features to GeoSyncGO. They have to be, and if you do have a feature class that has multi-part features, you will get this message I mentioned at the top right here, warning that you do have it found multi-part features. And it will actually give you the name of the layer or layers that have the multi-parts. You can go back and remedy that. Data has to be populated. There has to be something in the layer. If there are no features, if there are 0 features, like say this layer here, KTRN says count of 0, a layer will not be exported. It will not export a blank GeoSyncGO layer format from ARC. Next thing, actually exporting from ArcGIS. Some of the options that you have to export, some that you may utilize, are we can actually export polygons as points. If you select that option, you've selected a polygon layer. Instead of polygons in GeoSyncGO, it will actually be a point layer. There will be a point at the centroid for the centroid of each polygon. So you actually export your polygons as points. And the same for polylines. If you have a polyline layer, you actually want to export that out as a point layer. You select, and once you select your layer, then you would click on the polylines as points. Another option would be to use selected features. If you have done a feature selection in your ArcGIS project, you can actually select that layer in the list, and you turn on or select the use selection when available, so it will only export those features that are selected. Similar to what you would do for like exporting a shapefile from ARC. So you can do the same kind of thing. You would only export out the selected features to GeoSyncGO. If you turn this option on, when the feature class is exported, the field names that have an alias, it will actually use that alias as the field name. The default folder, this primarily is for if you're using GeoSyncGO AM tools, and we will actually be focusing on AM tools today. So if you're set to the default folder, that folder is under your documents folder for your user. Then GeoSyncGO, export, GeoSearch layer. All GeoSync layers we call them GeoSearch layers. And then from ARC, if you are using GeoSyncGO desktop to publish and export and publish, then you would actually use the button at the end of the export folder to select your GeoSyncGO project. So then it would actually send these to a specific project. If you're using GeoSyncGO Desktop to do your publishing. We're going to look at GeoSyncGO AM tools for all the publishing today, because you can actually not only can publish directly to GeoSyncGO Plus, it will also let you publish to a project folder as well, so you don't have to go into GeoSyncGO Desktop. One more that is not listed, you can actually utilize hidden field names. If there are fields that you do not want to publish out to GeoSyncGO, fields in your original ArcGIS data, if you don't, simply hide those fields. If you have fields that are hidden in ArcGIS, when you export that layer, those fields will not be included in the GeoSyncGO layer. So we've exported our data, our ArcGIS data to GeoSyncGO. In this case, we just used the default folder, sent it to our ArcMap export folder, or exported from ArcMap. Now we're going to actually look at publishing that data to our GeoSyncGO products. In this case, we'll look at publishing to GeoSyncGO Plus. Again, GeoSyncGO Plus is our web-based product. Probably the easiest to publish to. Once you've exported from ArcGIS, you'll use, of course, we mentioned GeoSyncGO AM tools. We'll go there and go to the GIS XML export tab, default folder. So there's your documents, GeoSyncGO, export, GeoSearch layer from ArcMap. So it's going to display everything in that export folder that you've exported from Arc. At times, I would recommend doing a refresh when you first open this tab. It should list everything fresh, but there's a refresh button here. Click that, and then you know for sure that you're looking at all the latest and greatest. It's not something left over from a previous session or what. So go to that tab, refresh. It shows you everything you've exported from Arc to the default folder. So at that point, you would want to select the layers that you want to utilize in your GeoSyncGO Plus product or mapping product. And then at that point, you want to actually publish those to GeoSyncGO Plus. There's two options. Publish XML. That means I'm going to publish these layers complete. It's going to actually build the entire layer from all the features. It's going to, if there's, build it from scratch basically. So it's going to put the whole thing out there, write the entire layer out to your cloud container for this account, for your resource, or for your data sources. The sync XML option. This is one that you can use if you already have a layer that's been published previously to your account. Say we had already done our water blow-offs. If we do the sync, it will just synchronize what's in. It will only add what's new. Basically, it'll update the database. They're not necessarily have to rebuild the whole thing. So publish is build the entire layer in the cloud. Sync would be just to update what's already there, if layer is already there. Once you've published those, they're ready to be used in GeoSyncGO Plus. You have a data source that's in your account. You can go and you can add that data source to a project, create layers out of it, so it's there ready to use. Now, if you need to utilize, say, the GeoSyncGO mobile project or desktop, you would want to export or publish your data to a GeoSyncGO project specifically for those products. First, you need to select your active project that you're exporting to at the top. Then go to the GIS XML export folder, like similar to what we did before, and select the layers that you want to export. This time is to project folder option. That actually will write these layers from your ARC export over into a specific GeoSyncGO project folder, the layers for that project. So in this case, it would export these layers to my utility demonstration project for GeoSyncGO. And then we're still on the project export. Now, once we've sent the layers to exported layers to the project folder, then we'll want to go to the XML project folder tab, and from here you'll see a list, and you can refresh this list. Sometimes you may have to, but there's a refresh button to make sure you're seeing everything that's there. So we can see the layers that we just pushed over to the project folder. So now what we want to do is actually do our publish to mobile/desktop. So we're going to the GeoSyncGO Mobile or GeoSyncGO Desktop. When you select this button, this tool, this option, another dialog will open, and you'll have a list. And this may look familiar to some of you that have used GeoSyncGO Desktop. On the left, these are the layers, the GeoSyncGO layers that are on my local hard drive. The ones on the right are those layers that have been already published to the cloud. So those are resident in the cloud on the right. So select the layers that you want to publish and or update to the project cloud folder. You do have some options here. You can, if you want to just do everything, you can select all, or you can uncheck all. And actually to delete check files, it'll actually delete the files. So select the files, the layers that you want to publish, and then simply select the to cloud option. At that point, these layers that you have checked will be copied to the cloud container for that specific project. So you can utilize that in the GeoSyncGO Desktop or the GeoSyncGO Mobile. At that point, you can utilize those layers in your GeoSyncGO applications. In this case, for example, this is the GeoSyncGO Plus, looking at our water demonstration project. That's all for today. Thank you so much for joining us.